I feel like I've made kind of a video talking about this before, but a lot of the time, like there are like you have like a problem with whatever you're working on, and then people kind of think that to solve that problem you have to work harder, and maybe you're not working hard enough, or you're not doing things correctly, you're not doing things like enough. It requires more work, and it's a common thing. Like you're an ambitious person, you have goals, you like working hard, so then the natural tendency is to try and go work harder, try and solve it through your work and doing more. But a lot of the time it's more like letting go that would solve the problem. It would be um, kind of doing things smarter, and and there's something wrong with what you're doing that is kind of holding you back a lot of the time. Number like the things that work, it does take some hard work, yes, but bigger things are working smart, like doing things the correct ways, and then being consistent. I think those are two things that are really important. So like for example, my deadlift has been like stalling and really weak like the last 2 months, and I slightly got injured, and it was just not good. And I kept thinking, oh, I need to train it hard, or I need to work harder, I need to eat more calories, I need to go to bed on time, I need to do all these things, get more rest. And I was trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, I have to do all these different things, but really it's like what the true cause was that I had kind of like messed up my form a little bit, and I had been pulling with the wrong form just very slightly for the last few months, because there was a deadlift cue that I had forgotten, which was to lock out the deadlift with hips instead of with low back. You should just kind of be able to stand up with it when you're doing a sumo deadlift. So I had been doing my form wrong for the past few months, and then that like kind of caused me to, I mean, like that's the cause of what was like causing my deadlift to massively stall. And then I tried to work hard and do all these other things to fix it, and I tried to eat a lot more calories, try to get more sleep, try to do more recovery, so spend less time training, try to train smarter, try to do all these different things, adjust how I was pulling and try to pull from a certain point. But instead, if I had tried to figure out what was wrong and somehow just work to solve that little thing, which was I had been pulling incorrectly, so I had been coming up with trying to lock out with my low back instead of my hips. If I just changed that little thing, it would have changed everything else for the better. So the lesson is that a lot of the time, yeah, like consistency matters, and like you want to do things consistently, but a big part of what holds you back is doing things the smart way, the right way. And you want to continue to find ways that are smart, and use that to solve your problems. Tai Lopez made the point in one of his videos that like the work that's getting done and like what is achieved, there isn't like a ton of correlation. And he made the point that like you want to work smarter. Like everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, but the CEO, they make smart use of their time, they delegate, they read books, they really knowledge and kind of educate themselves, and they try to do things intellectually and find smarter ways of doing things. And in those ways they can fix problems, be more efficient, and kind of fix things at their root cause. So sometimes it feels like you got to work a lot smarter to solve your problem, but maybe you don't. Maybe it's just figuring out the root cause and then addressing that and fixing that, and then that solves everything else. And I think that's a good rule, and I've said it before, I think I've talked about this before, but like if you're working super hard and insanely hard and it feels like you're working too hard, maybe you're working harder than you need to. Like it's fine to do it for a while, but at some point you'll have to change your strategy and find smarter ways of doing things. And it's never that hard. It's hard, but it's doable. It shouldn't be extremely hard. And a lot of the time you're working too hard and you're not finding smarter ways of doing things, and there's always smarter ways of doing things. There's always enough time in the day, something like that. But yeah, those are just some ideas I have. A lot of the time when you're working too hard, you should kind of question it, and sometimes you have a problem, and working harder and just working increasingly harder at it isn't necessarily the solution to it. Sometimes it's figuring out what the true what's wrong with like the true problem and what the true problem is, addressing it and then fixing it, and kind of working to do things smarter in that way. And that's what really yields results, and that's what really solves your problems at the end of the day.